Hi, good to see you. After years of marriage, my husband announced his desire for a divorce. He then proceeded to claim our homes, assets, and pension as his own, along with the threat of a nursing home. I reluctantly accepted and relocated to a lavish center in $1 million. When he paid me a visit, he looked shocked and angry. Hey there, I'm Emma Watson, and as I get older, I can't help but think back on the years of my tumultuous marriage. It was a time of sacrifices and continual struggles, but I gave my all to my family and took care of our. I vividly recall the frantic mornings of getting up before the sun came up to make breakfast and check that the kids were ready for school, all while dealing with my husband's callousness and carelessness. He would get up right before work, never once offering to help or thank me. While I was finishing up, John yelled from the door, "Emma, have you seen my keys?" He was rushing to go to work on time, and I told him that they were on the dining room table, where you always keep them. Clothing the kids' days spent laboring in the food plant did not lead to any less mayhem in the afternoons. I got back to my house and plopped on the couch, ready to tackle the mountain of homework, food, and chores that awaited me. Whether it's hanging out with her pals or watching TV, John said, "Emma, I'm hungry. When is dinner?" He then proceeded to do nothing to alleviate Emma's hunger. Positioning the table at the same time, I proposed. They waited for an insincere attempt at cooperation, which rarely materialized. Even without John's help, I had to give up some of my own interests and hobbies just to keep the house warm and functional. As he played alone outside or, on weekends, sank into a trance in front of the TV, my nights were a mute testimony to my loneliness. During the week when I wanted to have quality family time, but either didn't want to involve the kids or ended up doing things only for them to make up for when mom and dad weren't there. Is tomorrow's soccer game going to be attended by him? Our littlest son hopefully inquired. Do you think I will be there? I'm not sure, sweetie. I assure you. I responded, trying to conceal my sorrow. We argued more often and had less in-depth chats as the years passed. It was as if he didn't care about the family's needs or our attempts to discuss our difficulties with him. Since our current approach is failing, we should discuss possible alternatives at home. I asserted, trying to find a way out. Hi, Emma. His nonchalant response, don't overstate things. It's always been this way. You handle the household duties and I handle the finances. His lack of interest deepened our divide and frequently made me feel more like a caretaker than a wife. In retrospect, a life mate, these years have taught me a lot about my own perseverance and fortitude, and I've come to terms with the fact that I battled alone for a long time and experienced a lot. It's never too late to find happiness and self-respect. For years, while he partied the night away, I juggled the responsibilities of managing our household and finances, caring for our children and my mother-in-law, all without any acknowledgement or appreciation from him. Now, in this new chapter of my life, I'm determined to find the companionship and mutual support I sorely needed in my marriage. To ensure a seamless morning, I would begin each day well before sunrise by making breakfast, ironing uniforms, and checking that every detail was in its proper position. Meanwhile, Josh would frequently come home late, which would wake the kids up with his sounds. Please, try to do less of that. I asked him in the hopes that he would take tomorrow's school schedule into account when you arrived. I apologize, Emma. It's only that I fail to notice it at times, he said nonchalantly. On weekends it was. On a Saturday afternoon, as the kids played in the living room, I attempted to have a conversation with him about our situation. We need to discuss how we are handling our responsibilities at home. I started while he was watching a football game on TV, but Emma isn't here at the moment. He would often go out with his friends and return in the early hours of the morning. I stayed at home and organized the kids' games, helped them with their homework, and made sure everything was ready for the next one. I'm completely engrossed in the game right now. As you attempted to explain, he continued staring at the TV and stated, it's not important. I feel like the whole house and the children fall on me. However, he cut me off mid-sentence. Emma, you never stop making things up. As long as you keep the house in good repair and I keep working to pay the bills, I don't see any problems. His response should have been to downplay my emotions and worries. My efforts as a wife, mother, and woman went unnoticed and devalued, and I felt like he was ignoring me altogether. Only a small sum to cover his. relaxed way of life, my already heavy load became even heavier when I took care of my mother-in-law. She was our resident and needed round-the-clock care owing to her deteriorating health. I arranged for doctor's appointments, provided special meals, and made sure she took her medication, but I hardly offered any assistance. Emma and her ion, who didn't get it, told you to chill out, because you're usually so busy. The weight of my obligations and your mother. She requires ongoing assistance, and the kids are always busy. It's more difficult than it appears. I was the one to reply. One day after yet another long night of waiting, while I was away, I resolved to confront the matter with more determination, hoping that he could understand my plight, even if just for a day. This must end immediately. Please, be more involved in our relationship and be here for me more often. Family life, I explained, hoping that he would get the gravity of the situation. Emma, it has been previously stated that you are performing admirably. Please tell me why you feel the need to complain. The discussion clearly disturbed him, and he replied accordingly. Waiting became clear to me. His acknowledgement felt like hoping for a miracle, so I resolved to fortify myself by surrounding myself with supportive friends and engaging in activities that brought me joy. Besides what JN is aware of. Even though it hurt, I learned to appreciate myself and take pride in my abilities to take care of the family, the house, and the money because of JN's lack of support and recognition. Over those years, I learned that it was not their approval that determined my worth, but rather the love and strength I could muster on my own. Generating just a few months had gone since his mother's death, and I had taken on even more duties at home in an effort to keep everything in order while everyone was processing JN and me. It was around this time that John revealed something to me, and I was completely vulnerable. One afternoon, as I was tending to the flowers in my garden, which I loved growing, and approaching them with a serious demeanor, the home looked suddenly too large and too silent. Emma, I had hardly seen such a resolute expression on his face before. It was quite unusual. I have something important to discuss with you, Jan started, averting her gaze from mine. I really ought to have taken care of it earlier. He paused for what felt like an eternity before saying, It's not easy to say, but I think it's only fair that you know now. It was a heavy air between us. Scary the problem, I urged, setting aside my gardening tools. I'm sorry, Emma, but I don't want to continue with our marriage. I've been seeing someone else for years, and well, I've decided that I want to be with her. He revealed this as suddenly as if he were dropping a stone. The impact of his words hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt the ground crumble beneath me. I had sensed the growing distance between us for years, but I had always blamed it on his. I hope you comprehend or accept it right away, Balbu, because it was a betrayal that lasted for years, and you were too shy to really comprehend what he was saying to me. I desire a divorce, though, since I believe it will be good for us both. After consulting with an attorney, Emma and I have decided to remain in the house. The amount we have saved is reasonable, and he acted as if we had never met before, treating me as if I had done nothing to deserve his coldness. I'm sorry, but I've come to the conclusion that it's best for us to part ways. After all, you gave up a lot to live the life you desired. The words that came out of me were a torrent of hurt and anger. As John ended the talk as if it were a routine business deal, he simply hoped that you would ultimately see things from his perspective. After all my hard work tending to the flowers in the garden, I was left all by myself. As bystanders to my devastation, I started to cry, letting go of a portion of the sock in the process. In the days that followed, I was swept up in a tornado of feelings and legal decisions, and I paced the house like a ghost, trying to make sense of how I had arrived at this position. Despite the hurt and treachery, I realized I had to fight for what was fair, for myself and as a tribute to everything. So I hired my own lawyer. I refused to let John decide how our relationship would end. Deeply committed to our shared existence, JN's revelation was a knife that slashed my world in half, but it also stirred a strength within me I didn't know existed, a resolve to confront the future as I saw fit. While John's admission of betrayal and desire to divorce hit me hard, they also served as the impetus for me to come forward about my own interests and fight for them. While he was carefree, I had been quietly planning for years. In order to ensure a stable financial future for myself through careful, deliberate investment decisions, I made it clear during one of our heated kitchen sessions when we were negotiating the divorce terms that I would not stand for you discarding me and taking away all that we had worked so hard to achieve. John, visibly taken aback by my resolve and the revelation that I had amassed my own riches over the years, inquired, "What investments are you referring to?" As Emma has traditionally been the one to take care of housekeeping. "Your pay is being frittered away at pointless bars and activities." The money I made wasn't a ton, but I was able to put some of it towards savings and investments. I also educated myself on the ins and outs of investing in order to safeguard my future, particularly since I have never been able to completely rely on your sense of responsibility. I explained with a blend of self-importance and reprimand, and he appeared confused. Obviously, I didn't think he would be able to handle these kinds of money issues. "What are you going to do about this?" "Alter the present state of affairs. I am not as helpless as you would have me believe. I refuse to accept an unfair divorce settlement. We have worked hard to build our wealth, and I am entitled to a fair share of it. This includes the investments I oversaw for our family's benefit. I am confident in my position, and I have hired a lawyer, but I am aware that this will be a difficult legal battle." During our first meeting, I laid out while perusing the records detailing the investments and the growth of the assets, the lawyer remarked, "What you have accomplished on your own, Mrs. Watson, with the information about your savings and investments is truly remarkable." This put us in a much stronger position than what his client had anticipated. "The money I've saved over the years, I'm grateful. I've always anticipated the need for a safety net, but I've never been careful with what I didn't have." I told him this while experiencing a mixture of relief and anxiety I had a long and winding road ahead of me in the legal system. The divorce discussions were stressful and draining, and Pion made repeated attempts to downplay my role and assert that our financial security had been built on his salary. "Hello, Emma. These investments are a direct result of my hard work, and you must recognize that. My investments were the product of my administration's hard work, and I was attempting to convey that point during mediation without embellishing the truth. Forecast our monetary trajectory after they failed time and time again to acknowledge my contributions to our financial stability. The divorce settlement finally acknowledged the worth of my investments. Let us ensure that my contribution was consistently undervalued, even though the procedure was emotionally exhausting. I felt a strange combination of grief and relief when we finalized the divorce paperwork. Even though I couldn't see what was ahead, I was positive that I had taken the necessary steps to secure my independence and dignity. With every sign-off, a previously dark chapter in my life has been closed, and a new one has begun, leading me towards greater confidence and stability. I started a new chapter in my life after signing the divorce papers, dealing with the fallout of his self-centered choices. My life took off thanks to the assets I had discreetly handled and the wise decisions I had made over the years. I was able to regain my financial stability and self-assurance, allowing me to begin the process of rebuilding my life on solid ground and his own, but simultaneously he was having a hard time adjusting to his new circumstances. He had hoped that his life would go on without any problems following the divorce, but he ended up in a completely different situation. One day, I got a call from him. After everything had transpired, I discovered something I had not anticipated. "Hi, Emma." His voice carried an air of uneasiness as he said, "Hello, I'm Joe. I hope you're okay." "Hey there. Things are not going well for me," I said, maintaining my composure and emotional detachment. "I apologize for the inconvenience, but I am unsure of your expectations at this time. I stated that I would be hard but fair, but I am still unsure of what you expect from me, Emma. I suppose I was hoping that later on there would be some benevolence between us. After all, we were an item for a long time." His voice betrayed his desperation. "I hope the best for you constantly, but you have to know that my life has changed course. I've worked hard to get where I am, and you may do the same. Better your circumstances." My response was to urge him to stop letting fate decide his path. I got down to business after that call. I decided to take painting classes, something I had always wanted to do but never had the time for while I was married to you. My new life was exciting and rewarding, and I participated in local art exhibitions and got involved in a lot of volunteer work. I moved to a small but charming apartment in an active community where other residents shared my interests in the arts and volunteering. Neighborhood art show. A neighbor approached me and said, "Emma, you've done an absolutely fantastic job with the exhibition. It is incredible to see how you've transformed this space." I thoroughly enjoyed being in the company of friends who valued and appreciated my presence during the event. Peering about with all Maria, I am truly grateful. It has been a group effort, and I am thrilled to have contributed to something so rewarding. What I have to offer, the contrast between my triumphs and joys and the challenges I avoided through common acquaintances, was striking. Even though he didn't harbor resentment toward anyone, I found out that he had tried to launch multiple unsuccessful businesses and that his financial circumstances had worsened. I had made a decision that would lead to my own development and stability, and I had learned that everyone must deal with the fallout of their own choices. During this period of my life, I was able to show not just how resilient I am, but, in addition to finding a new home and a fresh start in many areas of my life, I learned the value of making thoughtful and deliberate decisions after overcoming a challenging situation and developing a new vision for my future. Living in the luxurious care facility where I now reside brings me daily joy and fulfillment. The establishment has a stellar reputation for it. I was surprised to discover love again among the first-class amenities and service. There, I met Richard, the guy who would forever alter the course of my life. All time our paths crossed at the center's art workshop, one of several offerings meant to keep participants active and engaged, and I immediately felt a strong bond with Richard, a widower who had come a few months earlier than me. While we were both busy working on our paintings, Richard had a way of making everyone around him feel appreciated. We began a conversation that would eventually demonstrate how much. Our shared interests. Richard looked at the landscape I was sketching with interest and asked, "Emma, have you painted a lot before?" I responded, "No, I've always wanted to, but I've never had the time." Richard's kind smile and kind words made me blush a little. As our casual conversations progressed into in-depth discussions about art, life, and our shared experiences, we realized how much we appreciate honesty and authenticity in others. Most importantly, Richard filled me in on the details of his life after his wife's death a few years ago, including his struggles with loneliness and his decision to relocate downtown. Richard admitted to Emma that he now counts his decision to come here as one of his best life choices, particularly after meeting you. Richard, as we strolled around the center's gardens, I felt the same way. I had no idea I could feel that way again. It was as if I had rediscovered a long-lost part of myself. I confessed to experiencing a blend of joy and calm. Over time, our friendship blossomed into something deeper and more significant. Richard made me feel valued and heard, which was a huge change from my past life. One day, over dinner at a downtown restaurant, he took my hand and said, "Emma, my life has changed for the better since I met you. You make me happy in a way I didn't think possible." His expression was one of serious love. "I don't want to push things because I just lost my wife, but I was wondering how you feel about us. My life has also changed because of you, Richard. Hearing that makes me feel red called something I never thought I'd feel again. You have no idea the impact you've had on me. I am filled with joy to be in your company." I replied by giving his hand a firm squeeze. As time went on, our connection grew stronger. We did things together. Many afternoons were spent enjoying the center's arranged trips, calmly savoring one another's presence. I hadn't felt joy or purpose in my life for years until Richard and the center brought it back to me. They complemented each other and shared in one another's small and big moments, so staying together was an easy and mutual decision. After I decided to make Richard the focus of my life, he showed me that love can be discovered at any age, and we both looked forward to a future brimming with opportunities and fresh starts. After introducing him to my family, we went on to the luxurious assistance where they both lived. I was anxious about how people would react to me, but I had faith that my compassionate and loving offspring would perceive in Richard the same kindness, respect, and love that he showed me. My kids, Mateo and Laura, and my 3 grandkids all got together for a little gathering in the center's garden one Sunday to help with this monumental introduction. They couldn't contain their excitement and curiosity as they arrived early to meet the man they. My mother and I have talked at length with them. We can't wait to meet Richard. According to Laura, who embraced me warmly, you have done an excellent job describing him. Indeed, Mom, and we are delighted to witness your immense joy. Matteo remarked with a genuine smile. Shortly after, Richard showed in, bringing a tray of cookies that he had helped bake earlier. His pleasant smile and composed demeanor immediately put us at ease. Greetings to everybody. He extended his hand and said, "My name is Char. I've heard great things about you, and I'm really excited to finally meet you." Anna, the youngest of the group, looked up at him with wide eyes and said, "Yes, my name is Anna, and I hope to become a good friend to all of you." The youngsters, who were naturally inquisitive and never bashful, approached him with an open palm as a sign of friendship. On his knees, we spent the afternoon engaging in light-hearted banter and discussion so that we could feel at their level. Richard captivated and entertained the children with tales of his travels and adventures, which he would often embellish with amusing anecdotes. I kept an eye on my kids, felt a sense of relief and joy as they watched their children engage positively with Richard following the dinner while the kids played on the grass. For some one-on-one time with Mom, Matteo and Laura dropped by. "I think Richard is a fantastic human being. He clearly cares for you," he said. "Richard watches over Laura." My response was a blend of thankfulness and relief. I was assisting Anna in climbing a little tree when I realized how wonderful Laura is. "She brings me so much joy." "We want what's best for you, Mom, and if Richard brings you joy, then that's all that matters." "We really like it," Matteo exclaimed. Arms intertwined, Richard's bond with my family deepened. He became an enduring fixture at celebrations big and small, from birthdays to reunions. The kids, in particular, grew quite attached to him. They frequently asked him to teach them new games or tell them more stories. As we stood on the center's terrace, Richard took my hand and said, "Emma, I never thought I would have the chance to be a part of such a beautiful family." Permalinks 4. Richard, we are the ones who are truly grateful to you for the immense joy and love you have brought into our lives. I couldn't fathom this chapter without you, and I answered by tightly clutching his hand. Richard's acceptance by my family not only validated my decision to begin a new life with him, but it also demonstrated that love and happiness can thrive at any age. Together, we created an atmosphere full of love and support, proving that love is real. Overcomes all obstacles. This realization came to me late in life, but it has been profoundly transformative. It has changed my focus on myself, how I manage my relationships, and personal decisions. As I reflected on this change while enjoying a coffee in the local library, I realized how important it is to value myself and make decisions that truly benefit my well-being. After many sacrifices and challenges, I have finally reached this point in my life. Richard came over to join me as he noticed the seriousness of my face. "You appear to be exceptionally considerate today, Emma." He sat down next to me and said, "Is everything okay?" "Absolutely, I'm okay." As I gazed out the window at the flower garden, I couldn't help but think about how much my life had transformed since I made the decision to stop letting other people dictate my happiness and start making it happen for myself. I finally got it. Richard praised me lovingly as he squeezed my hand. "We appreciate it, Richard. It hasn't been easy, you know. I used to be able to put other people's needs above my own, but I finally snapped. Then, when I understood the need of self-care and valued myself more, I communicated it by reflecting on the tough moments while also acknowledging my growth. I'm delighted you got the message. Despite the fact that it came at a later time, I wanted to share this because Richard, who is always supportive and understanding, said, "It's never too late to start taking care of yourself." Sharing this fresh viewpoint with others regarding individuals that may be going through the same things, inviting other center residents to join a small discussion group, we discussed topics such as self-worth and personal well-being. During one of these sessions, I candidly revealed my story. Everyone here deserves to be happy and appreciated for a long time, and I hope you all recognize that. My value and satisfaction are determined by other people. However, I now know that no one else but myself can be held accountable for my health and fitness. How did you begin to alter that mindset? I began by seeing the faces of those who were alert and responsive. Here at the center, I learned to establish healthy boundaries with the people in my life, including my family. I also began spending time on activities that truly brought me joy, like painting and gardening, after asking an older woman who had expressed feelings of devaluation in her own family relationships to help me out. I gave my response in the hopes that it would serve as an example to others. Another local, a man who had spoken about his battle with guilt, asked, "It sounds great, but you didn't feel selfish at first?" Being self-centered is crucial when I'm sick. In what ways can I possibly be useful to other people? In an effort to allay that widespread worry, I elaborated. Our weeks at the center became routinely punctuated with the discourse, and I overheard as people discussed. Many of the locals started to feel better about themselves as a result. I was already convinced of the lesson's significance before I saw other people accept it and start working on their own health and happiness. Not only has this period of my life taught me the importance of self-care and self-discovery, but it has also given me the chance to assist others in doing the same through similar processes. The fact that I have discovered joy and contentment after believing they were impossible to achieve demonstrates that one should never give up hope. To rebuild our lives in the aftermath of everything that had transpired, and as I was relishing in the revitalization of my relationship with Richard, he made an attempt to re-enter my life on a particular occasion. As I was peacefully reading a book in the center's garden, I got an unexpected call. Under a tree's shade, "Emma, it's Josh," the other person responded, a voice I had neither anticipated nor desired to hear. "What do you require?" Attempting to keep my cool in the face of Emma's shock, I questioned the predicament I'm in is. "I definitely need your assistance. It's challenging, and I've been considering it extensively," he said in a rush. "We've gone our separate ways. I don't think it's appropriate for you to call me for help." I responded rationally, recalling the circumstances that led us to this point. "But Emma, you've always been a caring person. You just can't let go of the past. Despite my best efforts, you persist in trying to rekindle my old, fix-it self-centered ways." I inhaled deeply, recalling the lessons I've learned about self-worth and boundary setting. I have put in a lot of time and effort into being the person I want to be, and Richard, who had seen me, silently supported me by putting his hand on my shoulder. "Having been left behind, I truly hope that you are able to obtain the assistance that you require." I spoke forward and said, "But I can't be the one to offer it to you. But seriously, Emma, I truly am single." John pleaded with the person, "Please, just this time. Understand that I am sorry. Like I did, you must figure out how to handle your own issues. Like I said previously, I hope the best for you." Mount the phone after that call, I thought about how much I had changed. Before, I would have hurried to John's aid, ignoring my own feelings and well-being. But now I know how important it is to take care of myself and others. Richard looked at me with a mix of pride and concern, and I told him, "Yes, I'm okay." I thanked him for being here, Richard, and I told him that I'm grateful for our life and the support I receive from him more than ever. Those who genuinely cherish and honor that after some time had passed. I found myself in a group session at the center, where I confided in other residents who were also grappling with the aftermath of toxic relationships. The discussion was illuminating and freeing. I had no idea how hard it would be to help someone who had once loved you so deeply. However, I had come to realize that no matter how difficult it is, we must not allow our past to dictate our present or future. It denotes a lack of concern. I elaborated that it signifies we value ourselves sufficiently to resist being entangled in unpleasant circumstances again. With the sincere desire that my path may encourage others to face their own final reckoning with the continuum and make choices that mirror mine. The encouragement I received from Richard and the other center members solidified my resolve to prioritize my health and happiness, validated my development as an individual, and demonstrated the transformative power of progress and value in all aspects of my life. My character and resilience have been fashioned by the many hardships I have endured. I have learned the value of independence and self-respect through every difficulty, setback, and disappointment that I have faced. Looking back now, everything is crystal obvious. What I am now as a woman is a product of every challenging event. I found myself reflecting aloud on my life while enjoying tea with a friend at the assisted living center one afternoon. "You know, Mariana, looking back, I see how those challenges were crucial in shaping my resilience," I said as I leisurely sipped my tea. "It is remarkable. Every time you open up about your struggles, Emma, I am astounded by how far you have come." "You did it?" Mariana inquired with verve. "Well, every time I found myself in a difficult situation, I tried to remember that I had two options. Let the situation defeat me or learn from it and continue. Keep going even better than previously. It wasn't always overwhelming. So I went with the second option. Mariana wanted to know how you managed to keep your spirits up. Certainly, I had my share of low points. However, whenever I felt like giving up, I would dream about my kids and realize how important it was for them to have self-respect and independence in order to achieve their goals. My happiness and self-worth are too important to let anyone else decide, I added, reflecting on the days when that truth started to sink in, developing into something quite potent. Hi, Emma. I try to make decisions that benefit me and respect my well-being. I am not afraid to say no when something is not right. I actively seek ways to take care of my mental and emotional health. And now Mariana asked me, how do you apply those lessons in your daily life? I reply that I try to share what I've learned. I said, reflecting on our conversations, that this was particularly true with the younger members of my family. Spending time with my grandkids. Hey everyone, I wanted to start by sharing something really important with you all today. I chose to offer a brief lesson on resilience and self-respect while my grandchildren were visiting the center. As we all got comfortable, the young man with the most engaged gaze asked, Grandma, what are we going to talk about today? I explained that resilience is the capacity to bounce back from setbacks and keep going even when the going gets tough, and he watched intently. Their thoughtful expressions, like the time I tripped and got back on my bike. Another person stepped in to help me make a connection to what you're going through. I wanted them to know that there will be obstacles in their lives, both physically and emotionally, but that they could always get back up and keep going. Above all, I hope that they would learn to respect themselves and make good decisions, just like I had to. As I reflect on these lessons and share them with people closest to me, I know that my life's work will be a testament to the strength, independence, and self-respect that I gained from overcoming challenges. My aspirational legacy is this: embracing this next chapter of my life with a legacy of strength, grace, and unshakable self-worth. I count each day as a gift and seize the opportunity to savor and cherish each moment spent in a posh nursing home with wonderful people. With the unwavering support of my loved ones, including Richard, and those who genuinely value me, while having a peaceful breakfast on the balcony of our new home, I will feel more determined than ever to live a long, healthy, and full life. As we sipped our freshly brewed coffee, Richard and I discussed our future goals and aspirations. I asked Emma, have you considered starting a new hobby? It's something you've always wanted to do but never had the time for. Richard said, yes, I've always wanted to. Expand your knowledge of gardening. My lifelong goal has always been to have a beautiful garden because of my passion for flowers. Here at the center, perhaps we could launch a modest gardening initiative. I replied, my heart racing at the prospect of a new adventure. That is just delightful. To be honest, I'd say a garden, Emma. The opportunity to be active while appreciating nature was deemed ideal by Richard. We chose to speak with the center's administration that very day, equally enthralled by the idea. We reached out to inquire about the possibility of using a designated area for our garden. The response was encouraging, and before we knew it, we were busy plotting out what kinds of flowers and plants we wanted to cultivate. I personally think that roses would look lovely, and we could also grow aromatic herbs that would be great for the cooking classes and workshops that would be held here. As we perused gardening catalogs, I proposed our garden will be the ideal spot to unwind and enjoy quality time together. Emma, I am thrilled by your energy and enthusiasm, and I believe that plan is fantastic. Richard gently grasped my hand as we worked on our gardening project. It brought us together in a shared pastime that we both enjoyed, and it also brought together many other center members, creating a sense of community and belonging. My focus shifted from gardening to taking part more actively in the center's other programs, such as yoga and art sessions, after witnessing the extraordinary power of a seemingly insignificant gesture, like planting flowers, to unite and delight people. There were plenty of chances to gain knowledge every day. Keep moving around and hang around with pals during a painting class one day. I told my friends how much this new phase of my life meant to me. I told them that it's never too late to start over and that I'm thankful for every day that I get to spend with you and Richard, since each day is a chance to make precious memories. While we were painting, I told them, hi, Emma, the joy and vitality radiating from you. You are an inspiration because you show us that the little things in life, like being with close friends, can bring us the most joy. This is how one of my friends responded. With a broad grin, basking in the glow of positivity and enjoying life to the fullest. With Richard by my side, I vowed to savor every moment. With the unwavering support of my family, each day in our new home brings delight and many possibilities. I am filled with anticipation for the experiences and lessons that lie ahead in this setting, which is rich with affection, gratitude, and understanding. I pray you enjoyed today's story. Now I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you found most intriguing or unexpected so that I can keep growing and living my life to the fullest. You have a lot to say, so please leave a remark below. Also, hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Make sure you don't miss out on any more by keeping an eye on your screen for the following article.